Yes, if I could just have your attention, please. Yes, that's right, Barry. You got away without having a best man there today, but we couldn't let you get away without having a best man speech. So here I am, not quite live, via video link from the USA. This definitely wasn't pre-recorded last weekend in Sidcup. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Jimmy Young. I'm a long-term friend of Barry's. In fact, we've known each other right the way back from when we were born, just 1 month apart in 1987. We grew up together in Blowfield in Norfolk, went to primary school together. We've stayed friends for the last 27 to 28 years. And hopefully we'll still be friends once I've finished this speech. Yeah, so having known Barry for so long, perhaps I was the natural choice to be his best man. And with all that history behind us, I would never miss something as important as his wedding. Except if the dates got changed and I'd already booked a holiday. But genuinely, it really is a shame that I've had to be off witnessing the magic of the Northern Lights in Iceland and skiing the Rocky Mountains in the USA when I could have been there in Reading, in England, in February. Hopefully though, my stand-in body double has more than made amends for my absence. I'm sure you'll find him to be generally more charismatic and upstanding than I could have ever been anyway. I suppose the change in dates, Barry, is just one of those unfortunate parts of your job that you can get deployed to far-flung countries for several months at a time without very much notice at all. But, you know, thinking about it, I guess that is just part and parcel of life in the army. On a brighter note, it has meant that that insurance, that wedding insurance that you took out, has been worth every penny. I should congratulate everyone there who's put this day together at short notice. I presume they've done a wonderful job and won't have been a patch on the wedding that I've been to here in the USA today. To Anne, or Mrs. Edgar, woo, I'd like to congratulate you on becoming a military wife, and we look forward to seeing you join the choir very soon. Barry's fortunate to have someone that complements him well, and you've brought out a different side to him that I hadn't seen before, a more caring and affectionate side. You've also brought Barry a much needed bit of maturity. That's not an age difference joke, those will come later. I remember first meeting up with you and Barry in Greenwich and seeing you approaching, holding hands, and thinking, Barry's holding hands with a girl. But in the end, it's turned out that you're all right. I know that when Barry proposed to Anne, he did it first thing in the morning, so that he didn't have to feel nervous about it for the rest of the day. But looking at them now, you can tell that he had absolutely no reason to be nervous. Besides, I can't imagine that proposing could be anywhere near as daunting as some of the places that Barry's been in the course of his duty with the Navy. Knowing someone for 28 years means there are plenty of moments to look back on. Sorry, I mean embarrassing moments to look back on. Yes, Barry's always been very photogenic. And doing this by video has allowed me the possibility to share some of his photographic gems from throughout the past. Starting with this from back in year 3 at Blowfield School. This is our class photo. I think Anne was doing her GCSEs at the time. Where's Barry? There he is, pulling a lovely face. What an angel. Barry, I hope you haven't done this for the photos today. I do remember that the photographer took around 3 or 4 shots of this, which means that this one was the best one. I also think that Barry's mum Ellie still bought the photo. She must have been very proud. It is definitely one for the mantelpiece. It's also, I'm sure you'll agree, very comforting to know that this cheeky young lad grew up to be in charge of our nation's security in his role as a Royal Marine Commando. One other quick memory from Blowford School was when Barry had to do PE in his pants because he'd forgotten his kit. Yes, it really was true, and no, I can't believe it was legal. His good form with photos has continued as he's grown up, with Barry becoming the poster boy of local theme park Pleasurewood Hills. There he is. Yep, Barry and his forehead appeared in pretty much all of their marketing for about 10 years, with this image being reproduced thousands of times for TV adverts, posters, bus stops, and I'm told even blown up to billboard size at the entrance to the park. So in a way, Anne, you've married a bit of an East Anglian celebrity. You'll also notice in the background Barry's brother Martin showing his typical bravery when it comes to theme park rides. In our teenage years we got up to some pretty usual stuff. One of the highlights was Barry's 18th birthday, which culminated in him throwing up in a tree on Prince of Wales Road in Norwich. For those of you who don't know, this is something of a rite of passage for people who have brought up in Norfolk. And the only thanks our poor friend Tom Baverstock, who honourably took Barry home to his mum, the only thanks he got was a lifetime of disapproval. I can only presume that Ellie wouldn't have allowed Tom to come to the wedding today because he's such a bad influence. Well, Barry probably is the only person to join the armed forces and find the high levels of discipline, routine and hierarchy a welcome relief to what he was used to at home. And I can say that from the comfort of 4,000 miles away. Now, one piece of advice I read on the internet about best man speeches is not to mention previous girlfriends, but in Barry's case that's not a problem. On to our adult years, and I know that Barry's quite into his cars, but he can't really say that he's had the best of luck with them. A few years back, he proudly bought himself a shiny new convertible Jaguar in a stunning shade of blue. And for a treat, he drove it down to Spain, through France, over that massive bridge, the wind on his forehead, with a certain lady at his side. Well, it was his mum. And they got all the way there completely fine. It was only when it came to leaving again that Barry, having forgotten his sunglasses, quickly popped out of the Jag, leaving the door open and the parking brake off. Well, the car rolled back and the door got caught on a post, almost pulling it clean off and scraping off that lovely paint. Well, I can only imagine the look on Barry's face and the sheer joy it must have been to drive that car back to the UK in not quite the pristine condition it is left in. Well done, Barry. A few months later, I think he had to replace the entire engine on that car, costing him the best part of $4,000. Great value. I think he sold the Jaguar soon after that. He then bought a limited edition Williams Clio, of which there were only 100 made, and had been kept in a garage in pristine condition for 10 years or something like that, and took it on base, and within a few months I think someone had crashed into the side of it, caved in the door, and the person who it was never came forward. So yes, all in all, Barry hasn't really had the best luck when it comes to cars, which is why I definitely advise not taking a fly drive holiday for his honeymoon. And also why I would definitely walk back if I was you this afternoon or this evening, Barry. All in all, I've seen the transition of Barry from a bit of a naughty schoolboy through teenage years to becoming a married family man. The fact that we've stayed in touch over 28 years shows that he's clearly a good egg, And so I know that Barry and Anne, together with Joshua, will have many happy years ahead of them. So with that, I'd like you to join me in a very simple toast, simply to Barry and Anne.